Ritika, what happened about your travel to Pune or holiday?
So I didn't travel at that time. I stayed here only. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, I didn't travel, but I'm thinking I'm whenever it would be possible, I will surely travel. I really want to come to
So
this
I'll tell
place.
you what, September is a very nice time. If there are long holidays or something, you can come and but give advance notice on Art from Home group. Because
Yeah.
last year when Archana had come down, she gave everyone 4 months. So a lot of people ended up making a trip. And then if that is happening, then we can actually do something with it. We can have maybe like a mini retreat just within Pune itself. We don't have to go anywhere or anything. That and maybe then I can again last time when how we'd gone to Milind Moik's studio, we can meet some other artists. So then you make it a little more meaningful. Also, there's this very nice gallery now. Zapurja is there. There's RK Lakshman Gallery. So we can go to all these nice places also. So definitely make a holiday out of it.
Yeah, no, I'm like you. Even if you plan something, I mean, like Pune retreat, I will come. If it's a weekend, I will come.
Okay, so that's a good idea. Let me just plan myself. Then you all just come.
Yeah.
Good. Yesterday, I went for a lecture by a calligrapher named Achyut Palav. He's from Bombay. And I was invited for what was supposed to be one panel discussion with me, him, and two other calligraphers. And it's so unfortunate that those two guys didn't land up. So it was just me, and I was listening to Achyut Palav's 40-year retrospective of his work. But it was brilliant. He's done so much work. He's very amusing, very modest, and very interesting. He's got so many stories from right from like 40 years ago, matlab, this was in the 80s when he got out of college in 1982, how he built his career in calligraphy and typography, which is unheard of at that time. And he got some very interesting projects. So very nice. So from somebody who started off literally failing in school, how he has become a successful visual artist and designer. It was a very nice story. So yeah, so he's there in Bombay, and he's also very approachable. The thing is that all these guys are around, but we hardly interact with them. We don't really see, other than them coming on. Now, of course, Instagram is there, but if you don't know of them, you can't really interact. So I feel really sad. But we'll do something where we can interact with at least some of the other artists in Pune. That Milan studio was very nice. Susan, were you there when we'd gone? Alka, were you there?
Yes, yes. I was Alka, I think, missed the Sunday.
Yeah,
We
Huh.
did
I
it on
came on
Saturday.
Saturday.
I was there for
Right.
Saturday.
Hmm.
Millens
I
was
was there
a
for the
lovely
paper factory.
Yeah.
Paper factory was also really nice.
I
and
think also
ceramic bowl. The ceramic bowl.
Yeah, the ceramic bowl. Yeah, the ceramic bowl. Oh, that
I
was
missed
also
that.
brilliant.
That
Yeah,
was
yeah.
nice.
Yeah,
we
Millens was
also-
very. I attended a session of Millens after that. Very
Hmm.
nice. Very, very
Hmm.
nice. Even Achyut Palav, I've been waiting to actually sign up for a course with him. His Devanagari script is amazing.
Yeah,
I mean,
I've
he's
seen it on.
effortless at it. Effortless.
It's beautiful. His Devanagari is really nice. His book is pretty good. Huh? If you want,
Is
you
it?
can start off with the book. It's very
Okay.
comprehensive. It's got very nice practice sheets, so you can start with that. I bought that, and then a friend of mine came and said, "Hey, I want to learn Devanagari also." So I said, "Should take this book, start." I don't think he started, but my book is gone. So now I have to.
Oh, that's
So sad.
horrible. Oh, that's really horrible.
I know.
I'll check it out.
Yes.
I've got all of Millen's books and I tried a few of his work. Quite nice. Quite
Yeah,
nice.
quite good.
There are so many artists, to be honest, because of Instagram now.
Yes.
I found a few artists from Kerala. I was like really surprised.
They
Very
are
good ones.
everywhere and they are
Yeah.
brilliant.
All
They're
sitting
really
in
nice.
corners, no? Like
Yes,
hiding
yeah.
behind rocks. And then you
Right.
upturn one rock and you find
Yes.
treasure there.
It's good for all artists now. Very nice.
No, and so many different types of things like that video Tarini put up where that guy is making birds from twigs and It's like so amazing, such pretty stuff, and so
Yeah.
doable, like, you know.
It is very nice.
Everyone's trying to carve their own niche in an area
Ah,
full of things, and that's why
mm,
I think many of them are being very creative,
yeah.
very
Yeah.
creative. Each one moving into a slightly different line and then doing so much in there that becomes
Mhm.
its own thing. So it's very good.
So yeah, so Susan, I would suggest think of it another way. What we often do is we take some art and then we try to see how much we can expand that or modify that. That has been my process always. So okay, I'll do if I do a certain kind of painting, change the medium instead of paper, do it on wall or do it on something like that. But what I've always struggled with, and I'm trying to find inroads into that kind of creative thinking also. How do you get that original idea about what medium to use, or the fact that you can make birds from found objects or something like that? So currently what my process has been is instead of equating or saying, okay, my starting point is this and I want to make something exactly like this in something else, like for example icing on cake, or take leaves and make something exactly like what I paint. It's the other way around, where when we are out in the world and you look at an object, you see that object and say, what can I do with this? So it's a completely different approach that we are not used to, and we have never been trained to do that. How can I make something look something as like for example, when you're walking down the street, sometimes you see bird feathers. Okay, and our first thought is, okay, if I collect enough of these, I can make a bird. So this is our direct approach, that take another one thing and convert it into another thing. But we rarely think about, if it's a bird feather, what else can I do with it? There are how many other things that I can do? And the second thing is, if somebody has done it before, I should not be doing that. I have to find something else to do it.
No, 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 no. That's
So
not.
that is where we are limited sometimes in our creative expression. The other thing is also, then we are often checking ourselves according to other stuff happening around us, and we only come to a point where we can be comparatively good as or better than somebody who already is doing something. But when you have to do something of your own, how you go through the process of failing, of not liking what you come out with, but persisting on the idea that somewhere in there I have something is going to work. So it's almost as we are picking up a pen, and as a child, you're a 2 or 3 year old who can't even hold a pen. You start becoming better and better at that and expand your repertoire with that tool. With every other expression also, you can expand. So the person that I found this with is a German artist called Anjali Gobel. So she used to work with, again, natural found objects, things like thorns. You see, some trees have got thorns. So all she did was collected these thorns, sorted them out into sizes. Some were long, some were short, some were fat, round, whatever. And in that sorting, then she started making compositions where they became from tall to short. She just pasted them on paper or on a piece of old wood, like old doors and windows or something like that, and just hung that as a composition. Literally, it was just mathematical. She had made lines, and on each in each square or each intersection, she had pasted all of these. It was a genius idea as far as artistic expression is concerned. So it's not a painting, but when she put it up on the wall, it was such an accent. It gave such a different meaning to the room. It got so much attention. It was brilliant. And she did this with all sorts of things. She did this with acorns. She made holes in a plank of wood and put acorns in them, because there's a bird in South America, apparently, that does this. They make holes, and her piece was called the granary. And they store acorns through the acorn season, and then the rest of the year they go to each of these and then dig them out. So, and each bird knows where their hole is. They don't take from each other's holes. It's been studied. It's a fantastic thing. So she brought a little bit of that into nature. So just as an exercise, just think about, chuck the comfortable materials and take some found object. Get out and see what you can find, because I've started doing that. And found object doesn't always have to be natural objects. There's nails, screws. Our country is like a found objects khazana. There's so much garbage everywhere that you can literally just walk outside and say, oh, today I can make a sculpture out of this. So that might help in shifting our thought process and start thinking more original ideas. So
Yeah.
automatically it is niche because nobody has thought of it before as far as you are concerned. Right.
Yeah, that's true. Recently, I'm on one of these chats where somebody shared with me. I thought it was very, very unique. So there's this person who looks at scenery. Like I'm looking out of the window at what I see, and I try to make out something there that looks like something to me. So, for example, if I look at something, you know how we do this with clouds, right? We look at clouds and we say, ah, it looks like a dog. That looks like a whatever. So he looks at a scene in front of him and he sees things, and these are not scenes. We're not talking about pretty scenes. We're talking about really just urban scenes. Okay, windows. So that makes it even more interesting. And suddenly he realizes, oh, you know what? I see a dog, a cat, a face, whatever. He takes a photo of that. He takes it. He takes that photo, that image, and he blacks out the area that will form the outline of what he's seeing. And once he blacks it out,
What a nice
the picture
idea.
there is actually what he's seeing.
Yeah, wonderful. What a
Yeah, brilliant.
that is so cool.
Yeah.
That's
So
super.
he's taken one of the gutters of that, like Dharavi gutter, a gutter area, and he's just taken out carved out a face, like he blackened out the face part. And when you look at it now, one window and one item are the eyes, and there's a man looking up like this.
My
You know?
Ah,
Yeah. And that's just a photo. He's just taken a photo of a really ugly scene. And now, because he's blacked out the other parts, now you can see exactly what he saw in one go. You don't even have to look at it 10 minutes and then it emerges out. No, he's got it done for you.
I think it's a brilliant idea.
that's
What a
awesome.
nice
No?
idea.
Very creative.
Yeah, we have to hit that spot.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So looks like it's just us. 1 second. Okay, so let's complete the turtle today. Now here's an opportunity to paint the turtle in something more attractive, you might say. Already the turtle shell is quite attractive, no doubt. But when we are making an illustration, we have ample opportunity to turn this around and make it more our own expression. So here's what we can do. I'm going to show you how to paint part of the turtle. One section of the shell of the turtle. And that will cover how to make the texture, how to create highlights. But I will leave you to decide what colors you want to use in the painting of this turtle. All right? It does not have to be exactly what you see. That's what I want to show you. Some things can be common, like we have the gray around the neck and by the shoulders. That we will take our generic gray and shade a little bit. And the remaining things we can make a lot more vibrant. We can also start with a wash for the sand behind. So let me share the picture so I can speak a little more. All right. So when we are creating an interpretation of this, as usual, please don't focus on these little things like the markings on the sand. Trying to accurately draw this as the footprints of the turtle seems like what would make the picture look attractive. But you must know that to visualize what is happening in your final picture is more important. So we need things that are going to make our picture look more arresting. It should grab eyeballs. So imagine if we have some wonderful bright colors in this section. And what is the texture? We have mostly straight lines. The forms are usually are just straight and smooth. To that, if we are tempted to add things like these, this is something that a lot of times requires a little experience, that you feel, Kiri, this would make it look more accurate. But the red form doesn't sit very well with the smooth form of the turtle at all. Unless you do this and you fail a couple of times, you realize that you didn't need to do this at all. And over here, it is quite obvious. But in a lot of places, like when you're doing urban sketching, there are certain things you feel you need to focus on, whereas you need to actually omit them. That is one factor of discerning judgment that you must start exercising. So how does one go about thinking about these things? We all usually need one focal point for our picture, and our focal point is this. Right now, we don't have a frame for the picture, but you see that in this area, it's almost paper color. So we can have a very nice vignette around the turtle with a dark shade at the bottom. And this vignette itself creates a very interesting backdrop for the turtle to sit in. Now, I'm also advising all of you to use multiple colors for the turtle. So we need a neutral backdrop with hardly any movement in it or any forms in it, so that the turtle becomes more apparent. Now we are also going to put some shadows. Undo. We are going to put some shadows over here. So we know that this turtle is on the beach and not in water. But as far as we are concerned, if you feel like it, you could also convert this into a blue backdrop and have the turtle swim in water. Because to the normal eye, it won't look any different than this turtle is looking right now. It could look just like that when it's floating or when it's walking on the beach. But there we won't be making these shadows. So there are a few points that you can decide at the start how you want to take this. What are the options going forward? How many things do you have control over is something that you need to start thinking. Now, the reason for that is because I keep saying that our paintings are interpretations. We don't have to make our paintings look realistic necessarily every time. At some point, it is fine, but at other points, use this opportunity to explore how colors work, how they can draw attention, how colors combined with other colors make your pictures look unique. That's very important. Okay. All right. So now to start with, I have, this is where we are. Oh, sorry. Sorry, just give me a second. So to start with, let's erase all these lines where we had made a grid. And if you want to, just lighten all the lines also. So just roll your eraser over. Keep some of the lines intact because while you're painting, they could just be rubbed off very easily. Here there is a little hole, no? I'm just noticing these things now. So that this looks like a flipper on the other side. And I will be making the texture of the scales in the flippers later, but I want to show you over here. And then at least you all can also begin. All right. Let me get the water. Now for me, when I want to make a very colorful central subject, I don't like to make colorful backdrops as well. This is, again, sometimes I feel some artists have too much color so that you can't focus on any one element in the painting at all. So I'd rather keep it a neutral color just so that I can make the turtle shell very vibrant. And we want to keep it dark in the base over here and light going upwards. So I'm going to take a mix of some colors. And now, if you've got some paper tape, you can also put paper tape. That will help a bit. Why do I have paper tape? If you don't have paper tape, you can just focus on the turtle and its background, just around it, around its border. And then as you come towards the edge, press the brush down so that you can make a line, or you can erase the line or the firmness of the line.
I'll just be right back. I'll get some tape.
Okay. So here's a tip: when you're painting something like this, that has got a face or a front, And if you don't have, or you're wondering about how to position this, it's a good idea to position it in such a way that there is more space towards its face than towards its tail end. So in a way, it should look like your subject has walked into a space rather than is walking out of a space. There's something more welcoming. This is just a design tip. So when we make layouts for books which have got pictures of people facing in one direction, the conventional way is to keep the face, if it's facing in this direction, you have more space towards the nose side than the back of the head. If you do it this way, where the face is looking outside of the frame, it creates some tension over here. And you'll notice this done a lot in movies, especially like a Guy Ritchie movie. You will see that he often frames people like that. Even Woody Allen frames his speakers in one corner and they're speaking to somebody on not on, outside of the frame, and you're almost expecting something to happen behind them. All right, so let's turn the book around and let's mix a color and see what looks good. Now, even this color is quite nice. I like this color. Maybe I can make an accent out of that. So I want to make the yellow ochre also a lot more neutral. In order to convert a color to its own neutral shade, you can add its complement. So the complementary color of yellow is actually the addition of the other two colors. So red, blue, and yellow are primary colors. The complement of yellow would be a combination of red and blue, that's purple. So if we mix a little bit of purple to yellow ochre, it will start becoming slightly duller. So this is what I'm doing. I have taken a certain amount of yellow ochre. I'm adding a little bit of crimson to this and a little bit of ultramarine blue. But I can also add cobalt blue, but that will change how it looks. So this is the sandy color I want to use. It's still looking a little redder than what I have. Maybe I can use a little bit of raw umber to it instead of yellow ochre. Each of these pigments will have a certain tonal value. All right, so I'm going to go with this and I'm going to intersperse it with this combination of gray that I have. I can see a little bit of cerulean blue, burnt umber, yellow ochre, and maybe a little black also. Or I might just do a splatter. Load the brush a whole lot and start painting. Now, since the shade, the turtle is also a fully colored object, if some parts of the turtle get colored, I would hazard that even the whole turtle gets colored. We're not going to miss out too much. But just for practice, leave a little white. So I want you to start becoming very comfortable with this flow, the flow of paint on paper. This is a key triumph for anyone who is painting with watercolor. Just heaps of paint flowing in the first few stages of your painting. Normally, we want so much control over here that we tentatively, we're moving our brushes very tentatively. And we don't see this because it almost seems as if the colors will run away from us. But This is what makes for very light paintings. And all sorts of textures that happen over here, like a little bit of extra watery paint is going to make a cloud over here. It's all going to look good. So don't try to control this more than necessary. Now this generic gray that we have, that's ultramarine blue, cobalt, or not cobalt blue, burnt umber and black. You can take a little bit of that, and while this paint is wet, you can apply that onto the shoulder. Leave a few sections unpainted though, because there's a little highlight here. And allow for these things to happen. A little bit of color will run into your backdrop. A little bit of the backdrop color will run into the new color. Keep it nice and fluid. There's a little highlight over here, so I'm not painting the right shoulder. And what you see or we see as white, the lines between the texture, that will still appear white after we make the darkened texture also. I'm going to use a bit of this color also to make a light shadow around the top that runs halfway, exactly halfway over the back, and it goes over these lines as well. I can see some extra darkness over here. And towards the edges like that. Now I can't see how you guys are painting, but in the live, when I have people in front of me, I notice that a lot of people tend to overpaint. So I have a student who keeps going over and over his lines, and that only bruises the paper more and more. So we have to practice making very brief strokes. Remember, this is 1 out of 10 strokes you're going to make over here. So don't try to make it the perfect stroke. You have ample opportunity later to make it better. So look at the turtle shell and you'll see that there are some dark edges. So we're taking a very light gray shade and making a dark base color. See how this thing is going to become an awful cloud over here. But c'est la vie. There's some gray around the eye. I'm just waiting for some of the colors to dry. And then I'll begin painting. Now, here's also a nice opportunity to do a little bit of mixed media using watercolor as a base and bringing in color pencils, mixing those. If you've got watercolor pencils, mix the two and see what happens. So now when we are painting this, some of these have dried now. I'm going to try to paint one of these shells. The only reason I'm painting one is because I want you to see how I'm doing it. But you can paint all in one shot. It'll just take longer for me to paint all and show you, but it helps to paint all of them together, because if they have similar colors, then they don't change. The shades don't change from one shell to the next. So here I see in the photograph what looks like a brown and black combination with white stripes, striations. But I want to convert that and make it a little more bright. I have no idea how it's going to look. And if it were a commission, I would probably test the paint out, or make the whole picture, test out a sketch and then paint it. But in this case, I'm going to use scarlet and this is scarlet, cerulean blue in the first layer. And then I might use a black or ultramarine blue or even cobalt blue and burnt umber. So this is my plan. These two will be layer 1 and these two will be layer 2. And let's see how this looks. So I have substituted the red and the cerulean blue for the brown and black color in the shell. My painting is going to be in radiating strokes. So I'm going to apply paint, but also I'm going to paint a little away from the line that I have drawn for the shell. So I have a nice thick coat of red. The white parts I'm going to leave, but I'm not going to paint. And I'm going to focus on making a nice parallel line to the line that I have drawn from this side. Now, I don't want to muddy the two colors, so I'm going to first paint a large section of these blue lines without interacting with the red, so that I can apply some pure cerulean color. And I'm applying it in stripes because I will inadvertently leave some sections unpainted. Those will be my white stripes. And when about 90% is done, I can start merging. So I would rather go from edges and keep very limited paint at this point, because it is going to get polluted a little bit. So though I'm using a very large brush, I'm not loading the brush too much like I did for the wash. And do this operation very slowly. You can also reduce some of the color in your brush if there is enough. And once in a while, you can also take a red and put a patch like that in the middle. So I want you to see how fluid the action is. I'm not going very fast, and I'm not trying to control the merges. This part, I'm letting whatever happen, happen. But everywhere else, I'm just creating a channel where the two colors can meet. And I'm just going to leave it like that. The less I fiddle with this merge, the more pure colors can retain. And I am going to come back with a darker shade. So if there is any more shadowing required or bringing out more highlights, I can still do that at a later stage. Okay, do you want to give it a shot? So my recommendation is use some bright color. You can use crimson also. You can use orange also. And then the other color, make it a strong color. So you have bright and strong. So I would put orange together with ultramarine blue, because ultramarine blue is very close to the complement of orange. So that might work well. You could also try orange and green. But just take your time, breathe through it, control the amount of paint you have. How's it going? Are you getting the desired effect?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Let's see Susan's. 1 second. Let me just pin it, huh, Susan? Ah. What colors did you use, Susan?
I used burnt not burnt umber, sorry, burnt sienna.
Ah.
Burnt sienna and indigo.
Oh, you're using that 48 kit?
Yeah, 48 kit today. I
Ah,
rotate my kits.
nice. Burnt sienna and indigo. Let me see how that indigo looks, because burnt sienna is a little duller. I mean, it's a redder brown, I would say,
It
but it's
is.
still duller. So maybe the next one, you could try in that kit. You have not crimson. There's a
Purple.
crimson. No. Leave the indigo. That's a nice color to go with. But I'm looking for a different
There's
brown.
carmine. Carmine.
But carmine is very much like crimson. There's another vermilion. Try vermilion with
Okay. I'll try that.
okay. Yes, let's see. Wow, Alka is looking nice. Orange. Is that orange, Alka? Ritika's is also beautiful.
I used scarlet and I just put a dash of crimson into it. tiny dot,
Okay, good.
and ultramarine blue.
Very nice. Please write down what you have used, no? Those make
Yeah.
strips of those colors because otherwise we forget. Very nice. Vidya, yours is also looking good.
Thank
Your
you.
wash is looking a little too
Yeah,
patchy. What happened?
I don't know how I taped after I taped the area, like the selected area. It when I tried to do a wash over it, like this the area inside it, I don't know, it wasn't sticking as it wasn't going in that area. So I was trying to make repeated strokes. That's why I think it happened that
Can you
way.
write that?
Do you have cream on your hands or something?
तोंडीने आणली कारण मागच्या वेळेस
Okay.
चांगली केली ना.
Because sometimes if you
म्हणून नाही आणली आणि वांगी ती मोठीवाली वांगी आणली म्हणून लहान वांगी नाही आणली.
that can create a layer on paper
Oh.
and you won't be able to paint on that. But in
Oh.
any event, if that is happening, you can add more pigment because water doesn't stick there. The pigment sometimes can still stick there, but never go back and forth.
Yeah, I realized that after doing.
So now what I'm going to suggest is wait a minute. Right now you have made the scale of the turtle, which is inside, right? It is still
Yeah,
protected by outside. Make a second wash,
yeah, sure.
okay? And this time round, the wash will sit better. You can use the same colors or you can change the colors also. You can make them more, I think a little more, which color can you use? Make a mix of yellow ochre and burnt sienna, where there's more yellow ochre than burnt sienna, because I can see that your sand is looking very pale. This might
Yes.
help to liven it up a little bit, but you also have that pale backdrop, so it won't become too overwhelming.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you.
But another
So-
thing is hold the book a little upright.
Okay.
If you're holding it flat, then it's just craziness. Hold it upright, so there's only one direction that the paint can go down in.
Oh,
Okay, all right, yeah.
Aditi, so for the remaining panels, you want us to use similar colors or different colors?
No, use the same colors now.
Same colors again.
Yeah, if you use different colors, it will start looking
Looking, yeah, very psychedelic.
yeah, and it'll look like one of those, those drawing book covers that they forcibly make that are so multicolored. कि like, देखो हमारे paper पे कितने रंग बैठते हैं. It doesn't matter. It's like, and they look hideous, honestly speaking. So maintain the same colors. And if we do it right, the second layer, when we bring in the shadows and pop the highlights out, it will still look multicolored. So there are at least 5 different shades that are happening between the two colors that you choose. There's going to be something that is, the pure colors are there, and then you have at least 3 shades in between. And those are very good. The interaction or interplay of those colors with each other, along with that strip between these shells, will be a very nice combination of lines to attract attention. That's all we need. We don't necessarily need to add more complexity to that equation. Okay, let's now do the rest. And you have to be very careful that you don't go within those lines now, huh?
I'll just be right back now.
Yes. Okay, I have to keep switching my, look at our Pune rains. I wonder whether you can see it. Beautiful.
Wow, send some here. Here it rains and it's so humid, so humid.
I love rains in Pune. Pune people hate rains in Pune. But if ever there's a time you want to visit, you should try once in the monsoon. But August, not July. July is painful. August, September is very nice.
Next year, maybe I plan before, for August.
Do that. Okay, now each shell has a different pattern. Huh? So look at each shell. Don't just make the same pattern everywhere. This shell has got some white sections in on this top part as well. And most application can just be in the form of strokes. So you don't really need to make it very like too detailed. So if you are able to not see the shell as a shell, I think over here I can add a little orange also. There's a little light happening. This is going to be a supportive highlight. So the second shell that I've made, it has too much water. So I'm not going to, I've just waited a few minutes to let that water settle. And I will now start painting, incorporating the highlights and the patches. Alka, would Nayantara know anything about turtles also?
Yeah.
I
What?
to ask her if this is any particular type of a turtle, and if
One
you
sec,
can
one sec.
share any information, then when I upload this on YouTube, I'd like to
Ah,
put some information about the turtle also.
okay. Yeah.
So nice to have a botanical encyclopedia at home.
Colors don't dry so impressive, no?
Don't dry impressive?
Meaning when you apply them, like
Uh-huh.
somehow the application is so bright and lovely, and then it dries and it becomes not so vivid.
But this is only because watercolor is like that. But if you now when you do a second layer, they
Okay.
start becoming more and more vibrant.
Correct.
I have honestly I've thrown out paintings and colors because I did not know this about watercolor. And then there was one time when I was painting a flower which was many years ago, about 15 years ago. Oh, what 15? 25 years ago. And I had wanted to make more and more layers. And I thought this is such a mistake. It's not going to turn out right. And then that flower turned out so brilliant. So I accidentally happened to discover how watercolor works. But just pay attention to one thing, the volume of paint that you have applied on paper, the volume of paint you have on your brush, and how much you need them to merge is something that you can control to a large extent. Huh? So now over here, there's going to be a very minor merge because I've allowed the blue to dry and I wanted this highlight over here. But if I have too much water, that merge is going to be it's going to be spoiled. So I'm making these shells in the front. I wish I knew what these are called. I'm sure they have a very interesting name. Not shells, scales, no?
Not sure. It says shells. Not sure.
Oh, no, they're not shells. No. They're
No? Okay.
scales. No. Shells is something else. So here now I'm doing a combination of red and blue towards the front. The base is slightly blue. And where I want the highlight, I'm making it redder. So a little red from the base and a little red from the top. And in some cases, that's not even very evident. So I will let them merge and I will also just make a light color here. Now the first, if I want to deepen the color here, it's just looking like a flat patch now. This is the point where I'm going to bring in ultramarine blue. And have I said burnt umber? Yeah, I think it's burnt umber. And in the right places, I'm going to put extra lines. So there is a little bit of highlight on this side. So I'm going to make some ultramarine blue lines coming and stopping just at this edge. So I'm creating this edge here as I go. And if you're not sure about this, take a pencil and draw a line like that. Just very lightly.
This turtle I've actually Googled. It's called the green sea turtle.
This is the green sea turtle? Oh.
Yeah.
Doesn't look green, does it?
Google.
Yeah, that image search on Google now is Google Lens. It's fantastic.
Oh, so Nayantara was also saying the same thing. And she said, if this is the green sea turtle, you can sometimes see it in Andaman.
Oh, there you go.
But actually, Zai is not here. Zai would have been able to tell us all this.
Oh, is she also?
Yeah, they did the course together, both Zai and Nayantara.
Oh my God.
They were at Garware in Pune, na?
Okay.
So both of them were together for the course, the biodiversity.
Nice.
And their herbivores apparently. That's why they're called green sea turtles.
They're herbivores.
They're herbivores.
Wow, I didn't know that. Okay, chalo, I shall make this note. I always like to add some added completely useless information in the in the narration for the video because we should know these things.
Yeah.
Okay, can you see just some clever coloring creates this dimension? Under no circumstances, please paint the entire red into burnt umber. Huh? Just save yourself from that disaster. And you can keep doing this back and forth. You can keep coming back into this, paint another one, come back into this. Now Now here I have created a situation for myself. I went ahead and painted the red and orange, and then I forgot about it. And I came back to the front. Now, what do you do in a situation like that? Natural instinct is, oh, let me quickly make the other colors. Now, quickly to ho nahi sakta, ye color to mar gaya hai. So it's like beating a dead horse. You have to enliven the color again, and then you can merge it. So take the same colors again, and if not all over, at least at significant points, deposit some color so that you have created a playing field for the colors to merge. And then you can start adding the next colors. Here I see quite a prominent highlight. And periodically keep wiping your brush so that if there's a color mix that exists on the tip of your brush, it should not muddy the whole combination. Now the red and blue have mixed in my brush. So I'm going to wipe the brush, take a fresh blue shade and make the next markings. Okay, are you still able to see the color and the texture in your in the shells, in the reference images? Ah.
Yeah.
And are you continuously looking at the reference image also? Don't assume anything because otherwise you will be making only the front shell pattern in each shell, and it will not look realistic, or it will not look convincing. Forget realistic. We're not making it realistic, but it will not look convincing. So be very careful about your color choices. Not color choices. Be very careful about what you're putting where, and try to adhere to the information you're getting from the reference image constantly, from stroke to stroke. For the scales on the head, I'm using a combination of all three colors. So, not scarlet, crimson. What am I saying? Scarlet, cerulean, and ultramarine blue. There is also a little bit of burnt umber. And in some places there are highlights also. So please maintain those highlights. And we've done these color merging exercises before. But if you want a refresher, please let me know so I can show these to you. Now for the folds around the shoulder and the neck, you can keep making thinner and thinner lines of that same gray color for detailing. So if this is the thin line, the pink line, first your gray line will come over that. It's like a large patch that will come over this drawn pencil line. Then it'll become narrower and narrower, and then finally from one side you can give it a dark shade. That's how normally shadows work. So because it's such a tiny space, you can keep giving it some shadow by making the line thinner and thinner and darker. It'll automatically become that. There is a highlight over here at the base, so I want to keep it. Right now, some of my sand color has gone into the highlight, but I think it'll look fantastic if I just don't fiddle with it too much. But I am going to take some of this sand color in a slightly thicker consistency. And I'm going to make a shadow underneath it. So here I'm using yellow ochre, raw umber, ultramarine blue to create almost a bluish greenish shade here. I think a little bit of scarlet will help make it a little browner. Yeah, neutralize it a little more. Red should work. And now I'm going to make a very sharp edged line along from the mouth of the turtle into its shoulder. Then another line that's slightly wider along thick part of the flipper. And just a broken line like that. And then the same color from the back, but not touching over there as much as little gap from here. I love how these shadows instantly make the object pop out of over the paper. And in comparison to the dark shadow that I made underneath the neck, it will create the illusion of a highlight at the point where unfortunately that color had gone in, but it's a very beautiful golden light that I get up there just at this point. So the lesson over here is that the first layer, colors can do whatever they want. It's not permanent. And you can manipulate all those colors to work for you. Even over here, oh, very nice. Just a lovely. So here there's a nice highlight, which now I'm going to have to cover up. Thin lines. Now remember, when you're making these lines, don't make them willy-nilly. Though there are lots of folds over there, make them like a structure. So you have a concentration of folds over here, which you can see. So make them as if they are one next to the other, instead of crossing over too many times. That diminishes the form. Doesn't look really nice then. It'll just look like too many scribbles, and we don't want that. And there's some over here as well. So here you have the neck. The folds of the neck end somewhere like this. And then just on this edge, you have some extra folds. So what I like really is at any given stage, your picture should look compelling. So often I will leave paintings unfinished. I enjoy these things. I enjoy a little bit of white space and some really well colored patches because a finished picture is, I guess, finished. It tells you the tale. But here you can see work in progress pictures I find really nice because of the pencil lines. Sometimes they're just, they almost seem to be like saying anything is possible. But I like how it's going. So would I focus on to make it look like it is heading in the right direction? Definitely shadows, which have given it a little bit of upliftment. It has picked it off of the background. A little bit of these shadows on the shells themselves to give dimension to the object itself. So the shadow on the flipper makes it look like there's a highlight in the front. So that part is going lower. So you see that kind of dimension. Here you can see that part of the body is going towards the back just because of the curve and reinforced by these gray shadows. So these things make the picture start to look believable and the illusion more convincing, even at this stage, which is maybe 30% completion. I still have to attack so much of this. Are there any questions, anyone? How are your turtles doing?
Mine looks like this. Can I show?
Yes. Change the view. Okay. Oh, nice. It's going to look very good. Did you make the backdrop though? Did you make a wash?
No, I didn't do it because I painted the shells, so I was worried if it bleeds into the background.
Ah, okay. Okay, I guess.
I use a little bit of
Nice.
the white watercolor and I try to make like strokes to show like gaps between the shells.
Hmm. Very nice. Now, you can do this with color pencil also. So let's see what else we can add to this with color pencil. So I'm very happy with watercolor, but now that I've said, so with color pencil, you can add another hue to the existing shade. So I happen to have green over here. So just a few lines. They can be very subtle. You don't have to make the color visible as much as adding what I've done over here with watercolor. I can do here in a more controlled manner with color pencil. So why green? Honestly speaking, this was the color that is in my it was right in front of me and I don't know where the other colors have gone. And I am now using this in the right places. I'm putting them where the red is because green is the complementary color to red. So I will be making a shadow out of it. Oh, 1 second. I have removed spotlight. So in the places where I need that dimensional shadow for the shell, I'm just going to make a few marks with this pencil. And that should work. Oh.
Aditi?
Yeah. Let me pin it. Ah. Okay, it's going okay. Spin. Ha. Oh, beautiful. Look at that. Wonderful. Going very nice. But Susan, before you proceed any further, put the shadow down.
Yeah,
I-
yeah, yeah.
So I would have recommended to put a shadow down before you came here to the face.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. Very nice.
Oh, nice.
Awesome. Very good. Ritika's is also looking nice. So cute. Very good. Please send me a picture of your completed turtles so I can make an Insta post out of this. They're going to look very nice.
It's like an
And,
Indian turtle, you know, the Indian colors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very Independence Day.
Yeah, very much. And actually, this time, could you also send me a little small comment about the class, about your experience about the class? This particular one, painting turtles. So then I can make a post out of that. I am determined now uh, crack that Instagram algorithm, whatever it is. I got
It's
it.
madness, Aditi. It's madness.
I know, but we have to fight for it.
And
I
it's
gotta-
ever changing, ever changing. I know how many artists who have abandoned it and then come
Yeah.
back and abandoned it again. It's very stressful, unnecessarily stressful.
Yeah, it's so difficult to keep up. Like,
I was contacted by a group that said that for 799 rupees, they will give me 50,000 followers.
Yeah.
So I said, oh, everybody is doing it. It's okay,
uh,
799, I can do it. So I had a conversation also with them. Is it 799 per month or whatever? He said, no, one-time payment, वगैरह सब कुछ हो गया
uh,
conversation. And then I said, okay, that's the most stupid thing. I would never feel good about getting those 50,000. God knows where they're coming from. And I'm thinking, okay, should I go with the flow, go with what is current and just buy those people so it looks nice on the profile? Because everyone still looks at those numbers and say, Acha, you have only so many followers. And I say, no, look at the quality of art. It is so much better than those 50,000 followers. So I've decided nothing doing. I will do it organically. And organically means the moment you make 2, 3,
Correct.
you get 10. The moment you stop making posts, all those 10 go away. So it'll keep me on my toes. But I like at least the being able to connect. The noble idea behind it is good. But you keep sending out stuff, people know more about you. You keep doing stuff because of that. Otherwise, you just sit back and be time pass. So from that intention, what I would like to do then is to put everyone's picture one after the other in one post and then write a little about what your statements are. And in that, if you want to send a picture of you holding that turtle also, I'm more than happy. Okay, so let's do the next class on Sunday next. That's the 27th, so that we don't miss any classes. I think we've already missed one class, no, this month. Why do I get a feeling that, oh no, we've not.
I think it's calligraphy.
Okay.
calligraphy we missed. Yeah.
Yeah, not Saturday.
Right, correct. So, in the next class, I wanted to do, there's a combination. Either we can do shells or we can do boats because boats are also part of marine life. So I think boats would be better because then you can see how to make water and reflection and things like that. We haven't done that in a while. And next month was supposed to be festivals, but I'm changing that and making it food illustration. Since I've announced the cookbook, we might as well do food. And then I will also extend the deadline to the last week of September so that everyone can send in their recipes. Okay.
Great.
All right. Chalo. I shall see you on Sunday then. Bye.
Will
Bye
it
bye
be the same
everybody.
time? 10:30?
Same time. Yeah, same time.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.